It's time that you step out in faith and do what you've never done before. You're waiting for something that he's already given you, which is the assurance that he will be with you. It's the assurance that he will provide for you. Don't ask God to do it your way. Get moving. Be obedient. Step into the water. I just want you to know that divine intervention is one of the greatest things you could ever experience in your life. When God meets you at your crisis and he intervenes, he gets all the credit and he gets all the glory. You look at these different concepts, they've happened in Scripture all over the place. Think about how Abraham felt as a senior adult male that was told he was going to have a son. Gentlemen, how would you feel if God came to you right now in your 70s or 80s, 90s and said, hey, your wife's going to get pregnant next month? You need to empathize for a second. You think about what's going to go through your head in a minute. You're probably thinking, I want to know who the father is because I'm going to kill him, right? That's just stuff that doesn't happen without God intervening. Think about Gideon seeing 20,000 troops and being asked to go at him with 300 men. That is a suicide mission. And yet God intervenes and Gideon wins. Think about Mary being told that she's going to conceive and give birth to a son, even though she's never been with a man. Think about Jesus telling his disciples to feed 5,000 people with a sack lunch from a kid. These are all stories that point to the principle right here in Exodus 14, that when God calls you and you come to a crisis of faith, you have an opportunity to determine what it is that you believe about God. And that's what I want you to do. There's 2 quick things and we're done. Here's a couple of things I want you to do when you walk into a crisis of faith. The first thing is this: you and I need to learn to be faithful, be faithful, be faithful, be faithful, be consistent. Be consistent. Don't measure your spiritual maturity based on how much you give to a church or how many times you attend. You are faithful to the spiritual promptings. When God calls you, do you step into it? When he calls you to give in a certain way or serve in a certain way or pray for a certain person, or even when he calls you to give something up, when he calls you to come forward and lay something down, are you consistent and obedient and faithful in doing it? Blackaby went on to say, the outward appearance of success does not always represent faith, and the outward appearance of failure does not always indicate that faith is lacking. A faithful servant is one who does what the master says, no matter the outcome. No matter the outcome. So be faithful. But the second one is a little bit more daunting, and it comes from my favorite verse in this passage. Go back and look at verse 15 one more time, and we're done. Then the Lord said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Everybody look back up here a second. Stop there. You need to underline that verse. Lord, could you hear our prayer lives? Lord, will you? We ask that you, could you come? Would you do? Would you reveal? Would you? Sometimes I wonder if God's like, hey, yeah, I'm doing it. Why are you crying out to me again? I have told you, Moses, what to do. I have told you what to do, where to step, where to set your foot. I have communicated clearly, God says. Why are you crying out to me? Because along with faithfulness, it needs to be accompanied with action. We need to get moving. He says you need to put your foot in the water. You need to spread, just like I told you I was going to do. You need to take your staff. You need to spread it out over the water. It's going to separate. Then you're going to walk in on dry ground. And they're not going to defeat you. I told you you're safe because you're with me. Yeah, but, Lord. He's like, why are you crying out to me? Get moving. Think of it this way. This is the view that Moses had. That's it. That is an image taken of the Sea of Galilee, roughly in the area where historians believe that the crossing happened. Let me just ask you something. If you have an army of a few 100,000 behind you and you've got that in front of you, what would you do? I think I'd cry out to God. And God says, why are you crying out to me? Get going. Somebody in here needs to hear this. It's time that you step out in faith and do what you've never done before. It's time. You're waiting for something that he's already given you, which is the assurance that he will be with you. It's the assurance that he will provide for you. Don't ask God to do it your way. Get moving. Be obedient. Step into the water. Your uncertainty is not a lack of faith. Your uncertainty is what makes room for faith. You don't lack faith when you're uncertain. You lack faith when you stand still. So my question for us this morning is this. The entire conversation. Will you be willing to be more dependent on God? You start hearing from him and he starts pressing into your life and saying, hey, this is what I want for you. And you look back, but God, each and every one of us has a faith step to take. There is a calling, there's a responsibility, there is something that God is asking for you and from you. So the question I have for you right now, are you willing to get moving? Do you believe in the faithfulness of God? Do you believe that he'll meet you there?